program, it's called Make It, Social Entrepreneurship for Newcomer Women. In this program, we work with two groups of women. One group was focusing on sewing, and the other group was focusing on cooking. And the idea is to help both groups to develop products that they can take to the marketplace. These are women who have a lot of interest, right, in sewing or in cooking, and they have always kind of dreamed about, well, can I take those skills and create products, and then I can become entrepreneurs in that sense. But at the same time, we noticed that, you know, for people to become a solo entrepreneur, like to make it individually on your own, it actually takes a lot of efforts, right? It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of resources, commitment, and things like that. Well, these women, while on the one hand, they have the desire to go into entrepreneurship, but they also have a lot of life demands. Many of them, when they joined the program, were not in the labor market. It's because they have a lot of responsibilities for the family. So that's actually how we came up with the idea of bringing the women into a group. We want to test a model whereby the immigrant women would work together as a team to do one business together, right? So sewing business and then also cooking business. The whole project actually started around October 2018.
The model has three components, which included the content-based language learning. It also had the business skills and the maker skills. Maker skills are the women were actually making products during this time. It kept the women engaged in the process. In the program, they attended every single day, and they were very, very content. Another component was, I would say, the recruitment and selection of the students. There was 10 women from 7 different countries in each of the cohorts. They really, really connected really well. That was a key component. And spending time with the women, participating and getting to know them at a deeper level, knowing that they have various barriers and challenges of finding employment, of wanting to improve their English. And yeah, I would say this was a really key component. Also, the artisan market is where they spent a lot of time. They gained a lot of skills in terms of customer service, speaking to the vendors, and feeling confident. I would say these were the major things that made the program quite effective. So these women came into the program, they really needed that social support, and also they needed to become financially stable. So they actually got both from the program. They actually, with the collective, they made a little bit of money, but they knew they had to look for work. And they gained employability skills during the training where they, they had to work as a team. They had to build their confidence. They had to bring on leadership skills. And you have to remember, they brought a lot of skills from their country. These are talented women. And the second point was the support that they got. It was first from the instructors and the advisors. They also got a lot of support from each other. They got to build that network, the sense of belonging that I was talking about. And they also, when they did the market activities, they went out to the community. They built a lot of support by talking to the people, the Canadians. And just in that, they felt so confident about themselves that they can do it. And I have to still go back again to look at the innovative, unique model, not strictly just a business course, not just English upgrading, and it was not just the training piece, which is the maker skills. It was 3-in-1. It was very wholesome. There was a lot of value in the program.
Well, in terms of goals of the project, the first definitely it's about helping the women to settle better in Canada by doing business. We also did some research before submitting the proposal to IRCC. We were kind of looking at the impact of a lot of social programming that immigrants, particularly immigrant women, were able to go in. Now, those social programs are great because they provided a sense of belonging. They could meet new friends and all that. At the same time, though, we thought that to do business, however, it's to challenge the women to a different level of intensity. This is really serious stuff. So the intensity, we believe, at the stage of designing the project, we believe would actually accelerate the women's development and provide kind of better and faster venues for settlement. Yeah, so in terms of short-term goals, doing the business, earning a bit of income, interacting with the local community, those we really saw them happening.
The women were quite passionate about their activities, their entrepreneurial activities. They wanted to continue doing business together, going out to the artisan markets. And we thought, what would be the best way of keeping these women together? So we created a society called the Intercultural Women's Makers Society. And this was a platform that was created for them to continue with conducting their business.
Like most of the other programs, most of them, after the funding finished, usually the case is the program finished. But however, I think back to June 2019, we were thinking about, no, we want to carry on these activities. So what should we do? So we kind of brainstorm, we have done some research, realized, okay, we should set up some legal entity. And at that time, actually, we were kind of weighing about the different options. For example, we may be able to go to the co-op operation, or we should go to the society. So after further research and talking to the different people in the community, we realized for the co-op setting, so this women, majority of them, they need to have a high level of the commitment. They need to take the ownership for every single operation. But we realized maybe it was too early for them. But by doing the society, nonprofit society, the supporting team, the project management team, we can continue to provide the advisory support. So we feel it may be the better option. So that's why we chose to go to the Intercultural Women's Maker Society, the nonprofit society setting. So we have legal entity, we can buy the insurance, we have the license, we can do most of the business activities.
In terms of standard evaluation methods, we did individual interviews partway through the training program. We did a follow-up kind of survey questionnaire around the different aspects, learning activities in the training program. So the evaluation that we did that was sort of longer term, it was about a year and a half after the first cohort had joined the program. We wanted to see how the women, how their identity had changed from prior to joining the program to a year and a half later around their ideas of themselves as an entrepreneur, of their capacity for engaging in business. What were the kind of the legacies? What were the lasting impacts of the program that they identified? And that was why we decided to use maybe a little bit more of an innovative program evaluation process, which was using sort of an arts-informed technique. So we prepared a variety, I think there were about 25 different photos that, all range of images. And we asked the women to select one that was a metaphor for how they had, seen this transformation, if you will, through the preceding 18 months and how the program contributed to that transformation. So we got a lot of information around things that are maybe a little less tangible, like a sense of belonging, the social relationship, the connection to Canada, where the women felt like they had access to spaces and opportunities that they otherwise might not have had, and that proved very valuable. One of the other findings that the women reported on, self-reported on, was an increase in confidence around English language use, around communication, around different literacy practices, maybe digital literacy, using social media, some of their design skills. So that kind of language communication literacy piece was very highly listed as areas of improvement. The anecdotes that stand out from the clients around the program is, again, this feeling of real social connection and social relationship, and that's the standout.
By being in those markets, they were interacting with Canadians. From the beginning, they were standing behind their table. They were not sure if they should walk out of the table to greet the customers and things like that. A few months later, they were standing in front of the tables, right, talking to customers, answering questions, making the sales, and so on and so forth.
One of the women in the sewing cohort developed her own business through this, and she reported that she really felt that confidence growing, learning the technical skills, learning the business skills during the training period, going through the full business development cycle with a group of women that, brought their own strengths to it, and so that they all built their confidence. Her business is up and running, but she continues to remain connected to the collective. And so I think that really speaks to the isolation that people can feel, not only newcomers, but newcomers with a business idea and a passion, and maybe not having an entryway. One of the things that was important for us with this project was knowledge dissemination. We really wanted to get the word out, because our thinking around it originally was colleges are often very well, have great facilities. We have industrial kitchens, we have industrial sewing, a fashion design program, and so on. And these can be underutilized at times when the mainstream programs are not using them. So part of our thinking was, how can we partner with an immigrant serving organization that has expertise with the newcomer clients and lots of connections, and also in our case had strong entrepreneurship training program. We partnered with diversity, and Florence Cow, the instructor, had a very strong reputation in that area.
In this particular project, as a design, we have Okanagan College using the model in their region. But at the same time, during these 2 years that we were doing the project, we were already sharing our experience with other institutions and other organizations. So interestingly, there's a college on Vancouver Island called Camosun College. They had the idea of supporting immigrants on the island to access farmers markets. I actually think that it can operate in any communities. I'll give you the example of Okanagan. So there, first, they have a smaller immigrant population, of course, compared to the Lower Mainland. And the immigrants there are more dispersed. So when they were recruiting for their participants, there were certainly some challenges, but in the end, right, they were able to find participants in one cohort. I guess those challenges are going to be determined by the geography and by the local communities. So I think as long as there is a community and there are immigrants and they're interested in working together to experience what it means to do business, then I think the model can be adopted. So it can be a smaller group, maybe a larger group. Language level, can be adjusted. At Okanagan, for example, the women actually have way lower than CLB 6. So, they just work through this, right? They would have, maybe sometimes even interpreters coming in to help out here and there. So I think those are elements that can become quite flexible, but the core model, I believe, it's workable in many different places. And it's a model that can also work for non-immigrants, right? For Canadians who want to do business together. But you do have to have that interest. If you're too individualized, then maybe this kind of collective approach is not for that person. The project guide is designed to capture the experience of the project. Well, there are many different sections. It talks about the philosophy or the principles that are behind the project. Things like experiential learning, because this whole thing is really about experiential learning. But definitely we want some kind of training to happen front end before the participants go into the market. We even provide a little bit of curriculum framework, not so much content, because the training is actually quite dynamic. It really depends on the cohorts. For a collective to work, they have to build a team. Team building is so crucial. If you want to do a collective kind of business, that human factor is just so important.